গাধা কেটে
Good afternoon, class. Can you able to hear me? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's wait 2-3 minutes. Let's all come. Okay, let's start the class. In the last class, we have discussed about what are the different forms of pollution, what are the different sources of pollution. Until we have already discussed air pollution, water pollution, and soil pollution. So this class we are going to continue this other types of pollutions. So this time we are going to discuss about what do we mean by noise pollution. Uh, Actually, what is noise pollution? So it can be defined as the unwanted, unpleasant, or disagreeable sound that cause discomfort to all living beings. So this is not for these humans, also for these animals also. Some noises are actually very disturbing to all living beings. So so the different types of noise sources, noise pollution sources. So three different uh, main sources of noise pollution are industrial noise, transport noise. So industrial noise include this noise caused by this different kind of industries, factories, and transport noise includes this noise created by uh, these vehicles, this honking of horn, uh, honking noise, or different type of transportation vehicle, and neighborhood noise. This includes when there is a function or some religious activities going on, so we usually use this mic and all loudspeakers. So this is actually one source of noise pollution. So what are the effects of noise pollution? So this affects human health, comfort, and efficiency. uh, It causes muscles to contract, leading to the nervous breakdown. Uh, Apart from from discomfort uh, and loss of efficiency, it also leads to this nervous breakdown, tension, and also it reduce our sleep. And in this way, we are going to be more inefficient because sleep is a very necessary thing for all human beings. So due to this noise pollution, it actually hamper our sleep cycles. It affects the health efficiency and behavior, and due to this, we are not fully 100% efficient in our works due to lack of sleep. In addition to in addition to this, the serious loss of hearing due to excessive noise, impulsive noise also cause psychological and pathological disorder. Sometimes the intensity of noise is so loud that it actually harm our different organs in our ears, and which leads to this psychological and pathological disorder. Brain is also adversely affected by loud and sudden noise that jets and aeroplane noise. So the noise created by these jets, there is a term called, I don't know you have heard about it, is called sonic boom. So it will create actually a very loud amount of noise when an aeroplane passes the sound barrier. So it actually very harmful to the humans or different elements also. So how can we avoid or prevent this source of noises? So first of all, we can prevent this at the source level uh, to control the source where the sounds originates. So it includes acoustic treatment to the machine surface, design changes, limiting the operational time. So we can design more efficient machine so that it produce less amount of noise, or we can also limit the timing of this operation of some machines so that we can plan our activities accordingly. And transmission path interventions, the source inside a sound insulating enclosure, construction of noise barrier, or provision of sound absorbing material. So we know that the sound travel, the velocity of sound at different media is different. So we know that for some materials the velocity of sound is very high, so it actually travel without any loss. But if we add some barrier or some sound absorbing material, actually it reduce much more sound energy, and also it decrease the loudness of the sound. Oiling, proper oiling will reduce the noise from machines. So the lubricating these machines is very essential from noise point of view. Also, it actually reduce the wear and tear of the machine. Also, it reduce the sound it's created when it is in operation. So after this noise pollution, we are going to discuss about what is this pollution due to these nuclear hazards. So the radiation in environments come from ultraviolet, visible cosmic rays, and micro radiation, which produce genetic mutation in man or humans. So the radiation actually emits certain kind of rays, that belongs to this ultraviolet spectrum, visible spectrum, or some cosmic rays. It includes alpha, beta, and gamma rays. So when it hits our, actually, uh, you must have known our human body, the information of the human body is conserved in our DNA. So DNA is nothing but some arrangement of molecules. So due to this rays, when it hits our DNA, it actually changes the composition of DNA. So because of this, there are some genetic disorders may occur. Actually, what happened? Uh, the DNA could not able to transfer the information to our cells, so that because of this mutation that occurs due to this visible or cosmic rays. So this way it is very harmful for humans, all also for every living organism. So what are the different sources of nuclear hazards? The first source of nuclear hazard is natural sources. This is in space which emits cosmic rays. So you may know that in space there is the radiation level of space is very huge. Actually, there is a preventive discover in our Earth, that is in the form of ozone layer. So what happens when some ultraviolet rays or cosmic ray enters to the human atmosphere, Earth atmosphere, it will actually barrier by the layer of ozone. But nowadays, what happens? Some holes are present in our ozone layers, and which actually uh, facilitate these rays to come to the to interact with human cells. So in this way, so the one major source of depletion of ozone layer is this due to these greenhouse gases. So in a way, this the noise pollution and nuclear hazards, all these things are interconnected. So apart from these natural sources, there are some man-made sources. So these are nuclear power plants, X-ray, nuclear accident, nuclear bomb, and diagnostic kits. So from you may know, nuclear power plants uses this uranium that we have already discussed, uranium and other radioactive elements as a fuel. But after using this and uranium and radioactive elements, the remaining part that is also very radioactive. If we don't dispose this thing very efficiently, it will actually emit this kind of rays, this kind of alpha, beta, and gamma rays, which is very uh, harmful to all the living beings, and also a prominent source of nuclear hazards and X-ray. And when we get injured or some bones are fractured, so we go to the doctor and we do X-ray. So X-ray is nothing but some type of radiation or nuclear radiation. So this actually one type of nuclear hazards and nuclear accidents, or you may have heard of this nuclear accident, this Fukushima nuclear accident or Chernobyl nuclear accidents. Due to this, a huge amount of radioactive elements is gets emitted to this atmosphere, because of which there is a huge intensity of this X-ray and gamma ray emits from these nuclear waste. So this is the another type of nuclear hazards, source of nuclear hazards, and also these nuclear bombs and this diagnostic kits, some type of diagnostic kits that is based on X-ray, beta ray, and gamma ray. So what are the effect of nuclear hazards? Exposure of the brain and central nervous system to high doses of radiation causes delirium, convulsion, death within hour or days. So this is the extreme case of exposure to the this kind of X-ray or radioactive rays. So we may the person could die within hours or days if the dose of radiation is very high. The use of eye is vulnerable to radiation. As its cells die, they become opaque and forming contracts that unpair sides. So we may know this one of the prominent disease in our eyes is called cataract. So this cataract is nothing but that this the cells in our eyes gets opaque. So the it does not allow the sun rays of light to pass through. So because of this, we actually lose our sights. So this is the radiation may be one of the cause of this kind of cell death. Acute radiation sickness is marked by vomiting, bleeding of gums, and severe causes of mouth ulcer. So these are the signs of radiation sickness. So which includes bleeding of gum, severe mouth ulcer. Nausea, vomiting often begins a few hours after gastrointestinal tract is exposed. The infection of intestinal wall can kill weeks afterward. So this is one of the after effect of exposure to the radiation. Unborn children are vulnerable to brain damage, mental retardation, especially if irradiation occurs during the formation of cell nervous systems in the early pregnancy. So the the unborn children, that the pregnant woman is exposed to this radiation, then it will actually cause both the mother and the child also. It will cause brain damage, also sometimes nervous system breakdown. So what are the control measures of preventing these nuclear hazards? So these so we may use nuclear devices should never be exploded in air. So before this era of World War, so there we have conducted the humans have conducted large amount of nuclear tests. So but nowadays all these nuclear tests are underground. So it should not be exposed in air because air is a very fast, it spread very fast. So it is nowadays it is not allowable to explode any nuclear test or device nuclear bomb in air for this testing purpose. But all this nuclear testing is done in underground. In nuclear leakage, closed coolant cycle with gaseous coolant may be used to prevent extraneous activation products. So we have already discussed about the nuclear power plants. So these nuclear power plants need to cool. So for that we use this heavy water or sometimes gaseous coolant. So this heavy water coolant should not escape from the cycle. So we have to dispose this proper way so that the nuclear waste that is present in this heavy water or this gaseous coolant should not escape to the environment. Contaminants may be may also be containment may also be employed to decrease the radiation active emission. So all these nuclear reactors and everything is covered in a lead chamber. So this lead chamber is actually prevent emitting any X-ray, gamma rays. So we actually absorb all these rays. So this type of containment chamber we should use to prevent this kind of radiation. Extreme care should be exercised in disposal of industrial waste contained in radionuclides. So the waste product of the nuclear power plant we should be disposed of very carefully with some containment chambers so that it should not create any nuisance to the environment. Use of high chimneys and ventilation at the working place. So from the nuclear power plant point of view, so we have to the some the the part of gases that is exposed to the environment we should be release it through this high chimneys and ventilation so that it will go to the upper part of as part of the atmosphere without harming the living being uh, in our earth surface. So till now we have discussed about the what are different types of pollution. So let's discuss how we can prevent it. So the one of the way we can prevent this kind of pollution or this adverse environmental effect by using some sustainable measures of development. So in the following class we will in this class also we are going to discuss briefly about what do we mean by sustainable development, what do we mean by sustainability, and all these things. So let's go to this slides. So sustainability. So what is the definition of sustainability? Over the past few years, sustainability has become a popular buzzword in the discussion of our use of resources and environmental policy. So nowadays we see that the sustainability word is coming up every now and then in all these policies and all these resources. So what is the actual definition of this sustainability? Before any further discussion of subject, it is necessary to define and properly assess the term we are going to use. So what is sustainability? Among the definition most often used, these are the following I have selected for this class. So first definition, that is defined by this World Commission of Environmental Development. So what it says, I quote, development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. There is another definition that is provided by Council of Academies of Engineering and Technological Sciences. It means that I quote, it means the balancing of economic, social, environmental, and technical consideration as well as incorporation of set of ethical values. So this definition that each generation must be. So what is the main concept behind this definition? So this definition actually tells us that so each generation must leave enough natural capital for future generation to satisfy their needs. So, so it actually tells us about how we should use our natural resources so that our future generation does not get hampered. So they they have also you they have also the resources are also available for the future generations. So we should not exhaust all the resources so that our future generation is very unable to use these resources and further development. It also implied that we should leave our descendants the resources to survive and meet their own needs. This is no specification for the form or amount of these resources, as it is difficult to anticipate the scenarios. So we are talking about the resources. So what resources, how much amount of resources we are going to leave for our descendants. So what is the form of these resources? So these definitions are actually very vague about these questions. So we actually what we are talking about from this class, this course point of view, we are talking about these different energy resources, that is this fossil fuels or this coal and this type of non-renewable type of resources. We know these type of resources are very limited in our earth, so we should use them very cautiously so that we can leave them, uh, we can leave our descendant with some resources so that they can survive and meet their own needs. So this is the basic definition of sustainability. So the concept of sustainability. So what is the concept behind this definition? Sustainable development encompasses economic, social, ecological perspective, conservation, and change. The definition of sustainability is based on ethical imperative of equity within or between the generation. So what it actually tells, so we should use these resources according to your needs or according to this generation. We should not use or exhaust all our resources in one generation. So we have to think of the other future generation so that they may survive with and meet their needs with the resources. Moreover, apart from meeting the basic needs of all, sustainable development implies sustaining natural life support system are extending to all opportunities to satisfy their aspiration for a better life. Actually, sustainability does not mean that we should not actually use these resources. It says that we should use these resources very cautiously or applying our brains so that we also should not uh, uh, it should not be like that we are not going to satisfy our needs and we are not using our resources. It should be such that we are also satisfying all our needs and we are going to leave something behind for our future generation. And sustainable development is more precisely defined as, from this discussion we can define this thing as a process of change in which the exploitation of resources, the direction of investment, the orientation of technological development, and industrial changes are all in harmony and enhance both current and future potential to meet human needs and aspirations. So it actually covers all the aspects of this sustainability. These aspects are uh, this technological development, institutional change, and the direction of investment. So this actually is a complete definition of sustainability. This definition involves an important transformation and extension of ecologically based concept of physical sustainability to social and economic context of development. Thus, the term of sustainability cannot be defined exclusively from an environmental point of view or on the basis of attitude. Rather, the challenge is to define consistent and operational term of sustainability from perspective of integrating integrated social, ecological, and economic systems. So we are now we have to define this thing, this sustainability from this. We have to think actually from the social, ecological, economical, all this point of view. So how we can uh, define the sustainability concept from this point of view. So how we can actually uh, develop social, we conduct social, ecological, and economic development so that we don't hamper this environment. Also, we flourish uh, by meeting all these human needs and aspirations. So this is a very difficult task as well. This definition actually is a one attempt to uh, describe this process of sustainability. So sustainability measurements. So we are talking about sustainability. So how we can measure the sustainability? So how much sustainable we are? How we can measure all the sustainability aspect of some development project or something, some design aspect. So measuring sustainability is a major issue in planning and realization of sustainable development. Development of a tool that reliably measures sustainability in a prerequisite for identifying non-sustainable processes, informing of designer of the quality of product and monitoring impact on the social environment. So actually, what actually does it means the sustainability measurements? So say we are going to conduct some development projects. So what are the materials that we are going to use? What are the processes uh, we are going to take place during this development process? So is it going to hamper this our social environment or this also this ecological aspect. So this is actually one aspect of measuring sustainability measurements. The multiplicity of indicator and measuring tools being developed in the fast growing field shows that importance of conceptual and methodological work in this area. The development and selection of indicator requires parameters that relate reliability, appropriateness, and practicality, and limitation of measurements. So, how we can measure this thing by using some indicator or some parameters, so that we can measure the sustainability. In order to cope with the complexity of sustainability related issues for different systems, the indicator have to reflect wholeness of the system as well as interact of its subsystem. So the indicator we are going to use to measure sustainability should reflect the wholeness of the system. Also, interacts with it also explain what are the different system that are so different processes that is going through this development process. Also, its subsystems. Consequently, the indicator have to measure the intensity of interaction between the elements of the system and between the system and its environment. So this is basically the indicator that measures the sustainability should measure the interaction between the elements or between the system and the elements and the whole with the environment. So this is the main uh, prerequisite of a good type of sustainability indicator. From this point of view, there is a need for an indicator sets related to this interaction process that allow an assessment of a complex relationship of every system and its advantage. So this is the from this point of view, we actually need some sustainable measurement indicators. So next class we are going to discuss all the different kind of indicators that we can measure the sustainability aspect of some development project. So for now, this will be it for this class. So you may put your attendance in the chat box and leave the class.